God says He loves you, and God sees the depth of your heart. You've prayed, waited, cried, and asked heaven why someone who loves you cannot seem to step fully into your life. You've wondered what holds him back, what invisible chain keeps him bound to something or someone else. God knows your pain. He knows your confusion. And He wants you to know that this is not rejection, this is redirection through divine understanding. God knows why He cannot let her go, and though it wounds you now, there is a divine plan woven through this waiting, through this ache, through this distance. There are times when God allows someone to stay in a situation longer than seems right because there are spiritual contracts, karmic lessons, or wounds that must be healed before the soul can move into alignment with divine love. The man you care for may be tied to someone not because of love, but because of a debt his soul must resolve. He may be trapped in guilt, obligation, or fear. God knows that he feels the pull toward you, yet his spirit trembles at the thought of change. You see, the heart can be ready while the mind remains bound, and God in His wisdom does not rush this process. What looks like hesitation is heaven's way of creating healing. You may not realize that His connection with that other person has roots deeper than the surface of this lifetime. Sometimes, souls meet again to untangle the cords of old pain. God allows it because He knows the soul must be free before it can truly love. What you are witnessing is not preference, it's spiritual surgery. God is removing what is false so that when this man comes to you, he comes whole, not broken, not divided, not haunted by guilt. That is why God whispers, "Wait, my child. Do not chase what I am still healing." He does love you. His love is real, though it is buried under fear and confusion. When He looks at you, He feels peace, He feels home, but He also feels unworthy of that light. His heart knows you are the one God placed for him, but his spirit is still wrapped in the old world. He tries to understand why he can't let her go. He may think it's loyalty or duty. But God sees the truth. It is a lesson about release. He must learn to let go of what no longer serves his soul, and that is not an easy lesson. So God holds you back from forcing it, because if you try to pull him before his heart is ready, both of you will suffer more. Sometimes, God allows delays not to punish you, but to protect you. He does not want you to build your future on the foundation of his unresolved past. He wants him to be free, emotionally and spiritually, before he takes your hand. This is why God asks you to trust him, even when it feels like nothing makes sense. Your tears have not gone unnoticed. Heaven has counted every one, and God has seen every silent prayer whispered in the darkness. You are not forgotten. This waiting season is sacred ground, a place where faith is born and love is purified. God wants you to remember that his timing is never cruel. He delays only to perfect. He separates only to sanctify. There are parts of his life that God is dismantling quietly, one piece at a time. You may not see it, but the Spirit is at work. The very things that make him cling to her are being revealed for healing. Maybe it's fear of loneliness, fear of judgment, or the illusion that he owes something to that person. God is showing him that real love does not come from duty or guilt, but from divine truth. And when he finally learns that, he will no longer be bound. You, too, are being transformed. God is teaching you patience that doesn't turn into bitterness, faith that doesn't crumble in silence. He's teaching you how to love without losing yourself. The waiting is not wasted, it's refining your heart. You are learning how to release control and surrender your love to God's hands. You're learning that the outcome is not your responsibility, only your trust is. When you stop trying to figure out why, and simply rest in the truth that God knows why, peace will begin to return to your spirit. There are nights when you feel like giving up, when the pain seems unbearable, when you question if He ever truly loved you. In those moments, God whispers, "Yes, He does. But love is not enough until I heal what's broken inside him." That's the truth you must hold on to. You are not losing him, God is preparing him. You are not forgotten, God is aligning your destiny. What looks like silence is actually divine construction. Behind the scenes, heaven is moving mountains. The day will come when his eyes finally open, when he realizes that he's been clinging to the past out of fear, and not out of love. He will see that the peace he feels when he thinks of you is not a coincidence, it's God calling him home. When that happens, everything will unfold naturally. You won't have to force it, you won't have to beg, you won't have to chase. Divine love returns when both hearts are free. Until then, God is protecting you from half-healed love. Do not let despair make you doubt God's plan. The waiting may feel endless, but heaven never forgets what it promises. The love you feel is not an illusion, it is part of your divine purpose. You were sent into his life to awaken him, to remind him of what real love feels like. But awakening is painful. God does not want you to carry his entire healing, that's his work, not yours. Your task is to remain faithful, to pray, to release him into God's care, and to continue living your life fully. God is saying to you now, my beloved child, I see your tears and your longing. I know how deeply you love. And I know how much you've endured. But I am working in ways you cannot see. I am untangling hearts that have been bound by pain for years. I am freeing what has been trapped. I know you want him to choose you now, but I must first make him whole. You will not lose what is meant for you. When I finish my work, you will not have to question his love, it will be pure, unafraid, and steadfast. He cannot let her go yet because the story between them is not about romance anymore, it's about release, forgiveness, and closure. God will not let him move forward until he has learned what his soul came to learn. And once that happens, he will feel peace, not confusion. You will know it. Because he will come not as a broken man trying to escape, but as a healed soul ready to build. That is why you must trust God's delay. Sometimes God allows separation so that each person can meet Him personally before they meet each other fully. That's what He is doing now, teaching both of you how to love through His strength, not your own. You are being called to rest, not to chase. To trust, not to fear. To believe that even when everything looks impossible, heaven is closer than ever. God is reminding you, love that is meant by Him does not end in confusion. It may pass through storms, but it will never die. It may take time, but it will return purified. You will not have to fight for what God has already written with His own hand. So, if tonight your heart feels heavy, take a deep breath. Whisper His name to heaven, and then let it go. Say, God, I trust you. You know why He cannot let her go, and I trust your timing. When you do, peace will begin to return to your heart. The energy of surrender invites miracles. The moment you stop striving, you open the space for God to move. Heaven is not ignoring you. God is orchestrating something far beyond your understanding. Every tear, every unanswered message, every delay is being used to build something sacred. There will be a time when you'll look back and understand why it had to be this way. You'll see that God wasn't punishing you, He was protecting your future. Your story with Him is not over, but it must be rewritten by divine hands. Let God turn the page. Let Him decide the timing. Let Him heal both of you. For now, rest in the knowing that you are deeply loved by the One who created love itself. God sees your worth, your patience, and your faith. He is proud of how you've handled what was meant to break you. He knows why He can't let her go yet, but He also knows the day He will. And when that day comes, everything will make sense. You'll realize that the waiting wasn't in vain, it was sacred preparation for a love that will finally be free, healed, and whole. Until then, walk with faith, live with hope, and keep your heart open to the miracles God is preparing in silence. When you feel like you are standing in the middle of a love that cannot move forward, remember that heaven is not still, God is always moving behind the curtain of time. What feels like delay to you is often the precise rhythm of divine timing. God knows every heartbeat, every silent prayer, every moment you've questioned if you are enough. And He wants to whisper something deep into your spirit. You are not the reason He can't let her go. The reason lies within the spiritual work that must be completed before this love can rise to its full truth. You were never meant to compete with the past. The past has no power unless it is left unresolved, and that is what God is healing. He is not holding on to her because she is better than you, He is holding on to her because a part of His soul is still afraid to let go of what feels familiar, even when it hurts. God understands that fear. He knows how deeply the human heart can cling to what is broken because it is scared of being empty. But God also knows that no soul can truly receive divine love until it makes peace with the past, so God is leading him through a season of breaking, not to punish him, but to awaken him. Everything he once leaned on is being shaken so that he will learn where real strength comes from. He may resist it now, trying to fix things with his own hands, but the time will come when he realizes that he cannot build peace in a place God has already called him away from. When that revelation dawns, his heart will begin to turn toward you again, this time with understanding rather than confusion. You see, when God writes a love story, he first heals the characters. He does not allow two wounded souls to come together only to destroy each other. He rebuilds them in his timing so that when they meet again, they don't bring their old pain into the new chapter. That is what he is doing now. You may feel like you're losing him, but in truth, God is renewing him. He is teaching him what true love means, not attachment, not dependency, but divine connection, and while God works on him, he's also shaping you. You are being strengthened in the waiting. Every moment of silence, every unanswered prayer, every night you cry out to heaven is stretching your faith and expanding your spirit. You are learning to love without clinging, to care without controlling, to believe without seeing. That is the love God wants you to carry, the kind that doesn't fade when distance comes, the kind that trusts the divine architect even when the structure isn't finished. Sometimes God hides his hand because he wants you to trust his heart. You may not see any progress, but that doesn't mean it isn't happening. The Spirit is working in secret, softening hearts, closing old doors, aligning circumstances. God is doing things that, if revealed too soon, might overwhelm you. He is preparing both of you in silence because some miracles are born only in quiet places. There will come a time when the weight lifts, when he begins to see clearly. The confusion that clouds his mind will dissolve, and he will understand that his attachment was never about love, it was about fear, guilt, or comfort. When God reveals that truth, he will finally be free to make choices led by peace instead of obligation. And when he does, you will see the fruits of all your waiting, because the love that returns after being refined by God will carry the strength of eternity. Do not let bitterness grow in your heart during this waiting. Let compassion stay. You don't need to understand why everything has unfolded this way, only that God is still in control. He's not asking you to fix, to chase, or to convince. He's asking you to surrender. When you surrender, you align yourself with heaven's flow, and that is when things begin to shift in your favor. You might think, if he loves me, why can't he choose me? But love bound by fear cannot choose freely. God is not allowing it yet because he doesn't want you to be chosen by a fearful heart. He wants you to be chosen by a healed one. That's why he is keeping you apart until both of you are ready to love without wounds leading the way. Sometimes, the hardest part of faith is trusting that silence does not mean absence. God's silence is not neglect, it's sacred work in progress. Just because you cannot see what he's building does not mean he's not building it. Imagine the roots of a tree growing underground, unseen, but essential. Without those roots, the tree would collapse under its own weight. That is what God is doing for you both, establishing roots strong enough to hold the love that will come later. He knows that you're tired. He knows the waiting feels endless. But he also knows that what he's preparing will be worth every tear. When this man is finally free, truly free, he will not come to you with confusion or hesitation. He will come with peace, with certainty, with the understanding that you were never an option. You were always the divine answer. Until then, hold your peace. Keep praying, but stop worrying. Keep loving, but stop forcing. The love that is yours will never require you to beg. It will find you in divine alignment, in stillness, in surrender. God's timing may not always match your desires, but it never fails His design. There is a divine unraveling happening, old bonds breaking, hidden truths surfacing, hearts being realigned. When it looks like everything is falling apart, heaven is actually setting things in order. Trust the process. You may feel powerless now, but you are not forgotten. The same God who placed that love in your heart is the same God who knows when it's time for it to bloom. So tonight, instead of asking why can't He let her go, ask, God, what are you teaching me through this? And then listen, not with your mind, but with your spirit. You will feel a quiet assurance, a whisper of divine peace saying, "Be still. I am working this out for your good." He loves you, but God is teaching him what love truly means. When God finishes His work, He will no longer be torn between two worlds. He will know where he belongs. Until that day, trust that your love is safe in God's hands. What is meant for you will never slip away, not when heaven is guarding it. My beloved child, I have seen your tears in the silence where no one else could. I have watched you love deeply. And I have felt the ache that rises when you ask why the one who loves you cannot let go of another. Nothing in your heart is hidden from me. Every sigh, every question, every dream that seems trapped between what could be and what is, I have gathered it in my hands. Do not think that love has failed you. It has not. I am shaping it in fire. The man you love is walking through a season of breaking, not because I wish to hurt him, but because I must teach him freedom before I can teach him union. You cannot be joined to chains, therefore, I am teaching him to release what binds him. His clinging is not love, it is fear disguised as loyalty. And fear cannot build the future I have written for you. My beloved child, I see the ache you carry. I know the weight you hold in your heart when you whisper His name to the night and wonder why a love that feels so true must live inside such distance. You ask me why He can't let her go. You ask me why the story drags across your days like a song that never finishes. I hear you.